Hello, Eren. Welcome. How are
Hey,
you?
thank you so much. Thank you. I am very well. How are you?
Thank you very much. I am really honored to have you today and welcome everybody who is have a time to listen us. I am really excited for today's conversation with Dr. Emre Eren Korkmaz. Let me start briefly about myself, what we are doing under the W7. W7 AI is on a mission to support the companies with regenerative marketing, but also we are on a mission to decarbonize marketing as well. At the same time, we are focusing to consulting the companies about the conscious marketing and using our 7 path regenerative marketing strategies. I am Duygu Özen. I am in the marketing and tech industry over the 15 years. I work with startups and international companies all over the world. And today's conversation really is so important because we bring together the science, marketing, and climate tech. We will share our experiences and what we are thinking about the market nowadays. And Emre, we would love to listen your story and background as well.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the invitation. I'm an academic at the University of Oxford. I've been working here in the Oxford University since 2016, so almost a decade. And since 2020, I am directing my own research and consultancy company, Oxford Center for Technology and Development, OCTD. This company is encouraged by the Oxford University Innovation. So in 2020, there was a campaign of social science company, not social company, but social science company. And we were encouraged and mentored by the university to establish our own companies. So some of our clients are Google, Meta, European Bank of Reconstruction and Development, many United Nations agencies like World Food Program, IUM, UNHCR, UNICEF, some government agencies in the UK, Turkey, Mongolia, Kenya, Red Cross, so different parts of the world. We were receiving assignments mostly on data scarcity in emerging markets. So we developed many methodologies to overcome data scarcity in marketing, in humanitarian emergencies, in financial inclusion. And then in the last 2 years, I have been in contact with some impact investors and climate tech companies, and they were very interested in our work related to data scarcity. They said there's a data scarcity issue in climate tech ecosystem. So we began to work with many investors, startups, and other stakeholders in the climate tech ecosystem for due diligence, impact measurement, data analysis, and benchmarking. Therefore, we've been working mostly with startups in different parts of the world with a focus on emerging markets from Zambia to Congo, Tanzania and Kenya to Indonesia and Philippines, but also Turkey, UK, different continental European countries, US and Canada. So almost covering the global, we have a global aspect. So we know a lot of challenges climate tech startups face, and also the investors and development agencies, development banks, all these different stakeholders. And by using Oxford University's facilities and workforce, we also aim to, not just as a consultancy, but we also try to research and come up with some alternative solutions. So this is our story.
Amazing, amazing. And you mentioned actually very great services as well, but I would like to start at the challenges part. And what is the big challenge right now for the climate tech they are facing in the market?
So when we talk about climate tech, so this is not an industry in itself; it's an umbrella term. So it can be about solving different problems on climate crisis, and main industries are energy, mobility, transportation, agriculture, and also some other industries like carbon capture, and some other related issues. So, but any innovation, any technology that solves some issues related to climate crisis could be considered as climate tech companies. So there was an interest towards investing in climate tech startups in the last 5, 6 years. But recently we observe a decline Maybe this is one of the challenges we will discuss later. So climate finance and also the VC type of venture capital type of finance has have some obstacles. And again, the political environment in the world and unfortunately preparations for rearmament and war are some other reasons. So many investors and public money began to focus on defense industry, but we still have this climate crisis, so we need to solve it. So one of the biggest challenges is, these startups, climate tech startups, face similar problems with other startups. So accessing to finance
Mhm.
and creating profitable businesses. But in addition to it, tech startups are impact-led startups. So there is an impact issue because you solve a climate-related issue.
So
So then if you are investing it or if we receive these services or products, we are solving some of the climate problems. But they are also mostly university spin-outs. So in general, the founders, entrepreneurs are academics, researchers, engineers. They have some sort of relation with university. So they are not really entrepreneurs, or all of them are not really entrepreneurs. They don't have that entrepreneurial spirit, but they have motivation of solving a issue related to climate. So mostly from an academic perspective.
Mhm.
So when they have so they are mostly inventors. So when they invent something, a mission, for example, that turns food waste into energy, or that captures carbon, or that produces sustainable aviation fuel, all these kind of issues, or that comes up with a solution to an alternative to the plastics, for example. They go to the university's innovation centers, and the university's innovation centers help them and guide them to for the patenting issues, and they also encourage them to establish their businesses. So suddenly these many uh, academics or researchers, they find themselves as entrepreneurs, and they have new titles as CEO or CFO or CTO, and then they began to pitch to investors. So
True.
completely in a different environment. So that's very big challenge firstly because of this communication. So their main motivation is not profit. Of course, profit is important. It's a kind of an attractive word, but they are not really into the business. They have a solution, they have an invention, and they wanted to come up to the market. They come to a certain level with the government funding, so they got so much grants. So it should be more, of course. But at one point, they should go to the market and ask for financial solutions, and they go to VCs or venture studios or other types of financial uh, institutions. But then, because of this mismatch of um, expectations and motivations, most of these startups fail, maybe over 80%. So this is a big problem. So we lose many brilliant ideas, many brilliant solutions. So here we discuss, shall we develop a model, a benchmarking model for due diligence and impact measurement? So we can come up with some solutions. We can analyze these startups. And maybe some of these startups and entrepreneurs are not great fit for VC model. So can we come up with some alternative solutions, some alternative business models, ownership models, enterprise models? So maybe many of these companies will not be unicorns. They won't earn billions of pounds or dollars, but they can be sustainable small businesses. But still, we can benefit from these solutions. So the idea is because they have an impact, they create an impact in the world. As humanity and the earth, we need them. We need these innovative solutions. So we should find a way to help and support these innovators, these entrepreneurs, to develop their services and products, and then we can benefit from this. So this is the main aim of our discussions. So the main challenge There are so many challenges, but I think the main challenge is the commercialization aspect. So they cannot come.
Refers to marketing actually. So true.
Yeah. So then we come up our collaboration with you about
Yes.
the marketing.
Yes, yes, and yeah, we collaborate with the Oxford Center for Technology and Development as WE7, and we are really so excited to support our climate tech. And you mentioned many challenges, but it is so good to see you focusing to very niche area, exactly what the startup needs. Because as an entrepreneur, they don't know how to execute companies. They can't understand the financial projections or how they can start their positioning in the market, and there are all solutions for them. Is a mission based but focusing to at the same time profit. This is what we need to see in the world as well. In the marketing part, we call conscious marketing or regenerative marketing. They are almost the same terminology, and they are supporting each other as well. We are on the way to support that startups are 7 different steps transformation model and regenerative marketing model. It's starting the purpose creation to healthy profit, how they can create the profit to purpose as well. This methodology developed by to actually analyzing the conscious businesses like a Chobani, Trader Joe's, Patagonia, and we modeled them under the WE7 AI. This is our consultation and agency services. Uh, why we need actually different type of marketing for them, and that question every time I am having from our clients or some networks. The big reason is climate tech or the mission based companies, they don't need the quick scaling. They need the long-term impact and the growth. And regenerative marketing has a solution about it. And when we look to the traditional marketing, there are the clickbaits and they are spending so much money and so on. Regenerative or conscious marketing, we are focusing the community, we are focusing to creating impact, but also profit. And there are many methodologies under that. Emre, I will jump the other questions here. We are talking the SDG or ESG and how it is related to that principles into that startups or maybe enterprise companies as well.
Yeah, so what you do is very interesting and very important. So development of that strategy is important. Um, so so climate tech startups are naturally, in essence, serving to SDGs and ESG issues. So because they can be in agriculture, it's if
Buyurun.
it is regenerative agriculture, for example. If it is in energy, it is renewable energy. If it can be waste reduction, it can be a solution, finding a biodegradable solution to plastics, for example. So there are so many people, so many research groups, units working on this. There are so many companies. I think we don't have any problem about solutions. We have necessary technology, we have necessary knowledge and motivation. The problem is coming to the financial issue. But here, if we limit ourselves with investments, uh, then it is a short-term aspect. Okay, finance is important, so you have to develop and scale up. But finance is also related to the market penetration. So, and then the problem for the climate tech startups is, or the resistance coming from the entrepreneurs is chasing their clients. So many entrepreneurs, many climate tech startups do not really have much idea about their potential clients. They don't receive feedback. They don't want to chase, or they cannot chase and they cannot market it. They cannot sell something because they are not used to it. Think about a PhD. Think about a researcher having a PhD. For example, they are in their 30s or 40s, and all their life they focused on a certain research project. They work in the lab, they teach, they are having certain skill sets, but they haven't developed these kind of business skill sets. And suddenly they find an invention, they are very exciting, and they want to solve an issue, but suddenly they are forced to chase clients, they are forced to market, but this is a completely different market. So when you develop these methodologies, I think it's not only for corporations, it's also related to the startups because they need support. And if you can develop a methodology or a program designed for climate tech startups, then okay, your ideas, your ideals, your main principles are very relevant for these companies, because in by nature they are solving uh, society's problem, or the earth's problem. So we and then your approach to regeneration or decarbonization is very important for them. So because from a principle perspective, you are on the same page. Then you can use your marketing skills and expertise to support these climate tech startups. Then they won't lose time to learn it, because it's not easy to learn for anyone if they are not related to this. So they know their topic very well, they have a solution, but they
Absolutely.
don't know other issues. So this is one issue. The second issue is, many startups or university spin-outs, when they come up with a solution, of course they want to go to the market, they want to commercialize it. And what they do is they just try to call and reach out the largest corporations. If it's an energy industry, you are going to the biggest energy company. And
Yeah.
that sometimes works, but these big corporations are also very bureaucratic structures. And like many VCs or investors, they are also bored of receiving so much demand. They are every day people are coming up with some new solutions, so they are very used to it. So they cannot feel that energy, and it's very difficult to take actions. So because they are very big corporations, very big institutions, decision making process they can take time. Still, they are important, but they are not the only ones. So there are so many SMEs, for example, small and medium corporation companies. They can purchase many of these climate tech solutions. They have some sort of money, they have some sort of budget. They have to solve issues like in real estate. They have to build net zero houses, in agriculture, in food industry, in different industries. There are so many SMEs, but it's very difficult for them to get in touch with university spin-outs, because they are very completely different worlds. And even if they come together, maybe they cannot understand each other, because they speak different languages there, but they have this practical knowledge. And when you come up with a solution, they can give a feedback, and we can establish these businesses. Thirdly, there are so many social enterprises. There are so many purpose-led companies, and some of these purpose-led companies are great, very big companies like Chobani, like Patagonia or IKEA. They are defined as purpose-led companies, but some of them are small, some of them are cooperatives. So if these companies define their principles and accept some purposes, so they have already taken actions towards SDGs and ESGs. So these climate tech startups are providing them some innovative solutions, coming up with some innovative solutions. So again, in principle, they are working together. They have the same mentality. So we just has very important first 3-4 steps for communication and for marketing, because you have this same. So when you say ESG and SDG, they have both the same understanding. Okay, so let's come if we really need this solution or not, or what kind of solutions they need, or what kind of expectations they have. So with marketing, if you can help these different stakeholders to come together, just I'm talking about very basic supply and demand, very basics of the economics. I'm not talking about big alternative financial models. We have many colleagues working on it, different financial models, assets, bonds, alternatives, green bonds, all this kind of stuff. I'm not discussing from that complicated perspective. I'm just discussing about supply and demand. I have a solution, I'm solving this problem. Okay, if you use my solution, you can support your agricultural production. You can use solar energy. If you use my production, you can put your food waste inside, and then you can produce your decentralized electricity. Or if you give me this land, I will develop an hydrogen reactor, use the sea's water, use the solar power, and produce energy for you. So these are some kind of solutions. Okay, and if these come together with some of these social companies, cooperatives, SMEs, or purpose-led companies, they can give very exact, important feedback. This part doesn't work. We need this. These are very important feedback. Then these people who are great at researching and finding solutions, they will work and modify their product and come up with the solution. Then at that point, if you have a potential client, if you piloted your product, if you have the feedback, then you can have more opportunities to find financial issues. If there is a potential client and if they are happy to buy 1000 machines, and if you go to any investor, any bank, any financial institutions, you will find money because you have a client. They are pretty sure that you will pay it back. They will buy this with this investment. So things can be much easier, much practical if we think a bit simple. But
And
here, marketing is your ideas are important because you can link these different stakeholders who don't know anything about each other. One of them is looking for a solution for biodegradable, you know, uh, tools, biodegradable products. But these people, people are very busy
mhm,
and they cannot easily call a researcher from Oxford University's materials department. Do you have something on this? Do you have a patent on this? The life is not like that. But we can analyze our role as OCTD with our some grants and our work, consultancy work. We can analyze these startups and then bring it to your perspective, and then you can link them with these potential clients in different industries. And if so, again, we can include all these VCs. We can discuss. We can invite large corporations. That's no problem. But it could be much easier if a company is interested in your regenerative marketing model, if they think that this works, if they think that this is a great idea, and if they want to explore more,
mhm.
you can also in, include all these innovative solutions, these small startups, and then you can say, okay, so this is a part of the marketing, isn't it? You are introducing these startups to these their potential clients. So this is the aim of this marketing. And then if they give feedback, if they can be early adapters, if they piloted it, if they even share data about their machine or service, that is perfect. So I think this our collaboration and discussion is important from this perspective.
Definitely. And actually, our collaboration is an example of right now what you shared as well. There are many gems you shared as always, Eren. And one of them is I want to highlight that part. Visibility is a traditional marketing. What in regenerative marketing, the startups or mission-based companies needs to alignment means that aligned with your values to the other SMBs or other mission-based companies and create your purpose firstly and then get your transaction or let's to create a win-win system with companies, get your proof, and then let's go to enterprise companies, let's go to VCs and get your investment. And this is amazing. And the other things while you're sharing all these beautiful ideas, there's a decarbonization. This question. I am having many questions, Aaron. Because we are using the AI and the decarbonization together. But at the same time, in the market, as you know, but AI creating so much carbon as well. What do you think about it? And there is any articles or so?
Yeah, so there's a discussion, of course, and I think you know we will definitely use AI. We cannot go back from that. We cannot ban it. You know, that will be ridiculous. Then we should find solutions about its energy consumption and other issues, related issues. And there are so many work on this. I know. Um, um, but also another problem, for example, from a climate tech perspective, um, as many venture capital firms and investors are looking for, you know, profit returns in a very short term, and they are not very, many of them are not very patient. But they also have some kind of principles of impact investing and other issues, ESG, SDG. They aim to invest in climate tech businesses, but they only invest in AI solutions.
Mhm.
We can have AI solutions for early warning mechanisms, climate risk modeling, climate risk scoring, all these type of issues for planning and managing. These are very important. So AI would be very beneficial for climate resilience and climate risk assessments. However, it's not the only issue. So we cannot just rely on AI to solve this problem. We need actual products. It can be robots, or it can be some kind of machines, or it can be some kind of solutions, tangible solutions that would help, would be implemented on the ground by people in agriculture, food, transportation, or any other place, any other sectors or energy. So we will benefit from these solutions. We will, we'll live them. We will experience them. I think that's the issue. I think one problem is how we use AI. Second, how we invest in climate. So I do not. So in thing, so the main issues, there are so many climate tech oriented impact investors, but when you ask some of them, they just said we invest in online solutions, software. So that's not a solution. So then we can come up with this critic, but the AI is also creating these issues. What's your solution? But the main aim is profit here, profit maximization in a short term. I think that's the main motivation. Um, um, and yeah, and related to that, you know, focusing more on reporting and analysis side. The AI could help, or these softwares can help people for ESG reporting, SDG reporting. Then this could create some sort of greenwashing. So I think this we so from an investment or finance perspective, we need to support climate tech solutions that have real world impact. Then we just come up to the issues that I mentioned. So who will use these innovative solutions? So is it an energy company? Is it an agricultural company? Is it a food company? Is it a transportation company? Is it an SME? Is it a public institution, a local government, municipality, council, or is it a central government, or is it a purpose-led company? Then let's categorize them, and let's help these climate tech startups to access to these people, their procurement or departments, or their decision makers, so then they can pilot and try their issues. So then they will can be all this client relationship, so then they can start earning, they can start generating revenues. That's perfect.
But
And if
also,
you have 5 6 clients, if you have successfully piloted your project, if you have a great feedback, and then if you have more clients, but if you want to scale up and if you need a better, larger team and more investment in this production, then you can go to any bank or any investor or any government agency, whatever, ask for that money, because then you will get it more easily, because you have a customer base, you have a revenue, and it's very logical. If you have clients waiting on the line, waiting on your door, okay, you can solve your financial solution as well. This is, I think, an issue. It's very simple, but I think it will solve many startups problems, and also the problems of the startups in emerging markets who are facing more problems to access finance. So I think that could be an easier issue, but to facilitate this, we need to benchmark and analyze these startups so they can be visible from that perspective. And then you should come up and introduce these startups to their targeted companies. And here we can categorize and discuss together how to categorize these issues.
absolutely.
One example, maybe we talked a lot, but we haven't given an example. So there are so many biodegradable solutions in horticulture sector. So in a gardening industry. But in the gardening industry, the nurseries, these plant producers and the garden centers and all the retailers, they use so much plastics. Okay, recycled plastic, but they are plastic.
Mhm.
They get rid of it. There are so many biodegradable solutions, but they are very expensive. So there are many reasons for that, but it's possible for us when we discuss with different stakeholders to reduce that price first. But the main motivation for price reduction is the demand side. If you increase the demand, then it will be much easier, more secure for these raw material producers and patent holders who have patents for biodegradable solutions, so they can start production.
Mhm.
But when they don't have any conversation, they cannot solve it. But when these people have solution, they go to the largest or company, which is looking for the highest profit. So they don't want to pay for it. They don't want to buy it because there is a huge gap between the recycled solution and the biodegradable solutions. But when we find some not small but mid-sized companies who have clients that can give that money, that is ready to pay for that money instead of plastic, then you solve it. You start solving it.
Very smart move.
And here in England, we began to product trial, and we are moving to a marketing trial for biodegradable solutions in horticulture in sector. And our trial might have an impact on uh, 10 million pots per year, for example, just from two companies. So this is not a
Wow.
great company. This is not like this is a great company, but it's not a large company, but it's a medium-sized company. But nobody approached them.
Yes. Great
When you
solution.
approach, and they have a client that can pay this, and they are
Mhm.
very willing and then you just suddenly see these, for example, 10 times gap be, between the prices can
Mhm.
reduce 3, 4 times. And then you can take additional measures so you can reduce more, and but at least at one point your clients or customers can afford to buy it because it's good. You are getting rid of plastic. And maybe because of all the taxes on recycling and plastics, you are also getting rid of it, and there are other solutions. So once people start speaking with each other, but this dialogue can start if there is a real client and real producer, and if they start talking about supply and demand issue. Um, Maybe one additional issue. Okay, this is about the demand side, but in the climate tech ecosystem, supply is important. You first start from supply. People don't come up with solutions. We don't know anything about this climate crisis. We are not the experts. We are not the researchers. So the
Mhm.
researchers of it, they know how to develop a product, yeah, alternative to plastic, for example. They know how to regenerate electricity from uh, seawater, for example. They have this expertise. So these companies, these startups are coming up with solutions, and they say, "Hey, I have this solution." So they are creating a supply. They say, "Okay, if you want, you can buy this." Then when you have the supply, we say, "Okay, we need this. We didn't know it, but we need this." And then we began to work on the demand side. I think you also link these two issues. Okay,
Yes.
there is supply, it should go to the market, and we should then generate a demand.
So
And
true.
then in order to understand that demand, okay, what's the problem? Is it price? Is it the materials? Is it another issue?
Another
That,
feature.
okay, let's solve it.
This is amazing. What you shared. Actually, there is a blueprint as a strategy for the other companies to, Eren. Wow. I know you in person. If we talk, I want to make you talk more, but today we have a limited time. Maybe second time we can organize another LinkedIn Live. But thank you very much for your all this wisdom and experiences. I believe our audiences will love it. And do you want to add more things for the climate tech mission-based companies? And how they can reach out to you? That's another question.
Yeah, so you can reach out to us from our website, from our LinkedIn page, Oxford Center for Technology and Development. You can reach out to my LinkedIn page as well, and or from my university website. It's very possible. We are open to collaborations. We have a foot in the university academic research side. We have another foot in consultancy and business side. so we can feel what we can understand the language of the climate tech startups because they are our colleagues, you know. We have same challenges, we can understand them. So when they, and it's a bit, I think, I feel very that's sad when I go to these pitching events or the climate tech fairs and carnivals, you know. They are, because you see, great academics, scholars who have a great solution. These are inventors coming up with a product in like quantum, for example, quantum and
Yes.
mm,
Genius
computing.
idea, genius project. But the
Genius people. They have a solution. They are coming up, but then they are like all these dragon dance style pitching events. They are trying
uh,
to explain the finances to a group of investors about return of investment, profitability, all this kind of. I don't think they are not very, I don't say they are not important, but it's very a bit disappointing to see, these people struggle to answer these questions. They memorize some of numbers, but they try to explain. But these are great scholars. We need them. We need their solutions. We need to applaud their success instead of forcing them to these stressful environments. And I think the better way is, okay, I do not reject these kind of pitching events, but I think more important is bringing them together with their potential clients. So instead of VCs, if they come and start sit around the table with government officials, public authorities, local governments, SMEs, purpose-led companies, whatever, all these, with their principles. We have this because we are on the same page about regeneration, decarbonization, SDG, ESG. Okay, and this is the solution. Let's start how we can practically implement this on the ground. So these people will implement this. These are the clients. Then these will not feel that pressure. They will have this research aspect and they will just focus on, okay, how we can solve this problem. Because
Yes.
yes, so that would applaud so their success and giving them new homeworks on behalf of the society.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's a better way of discussing. And then we also simply discuss supply and demand. Do
Yes.
you want this? Why don't you need this? What's your feedback? And then let's work on our product to make it better, and then implement them. So I think this is the idea that I'm coming as a conclusion,
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's very difficult. So we discuss all these alternative models, bonds, green bonds, impact investing, VCs, venture studios, all these different types of, there are so many different types of solutions. But I think the main issue is, if does it come to the market? Do we have it? If not, why not? And if it's okay, then how we can create these mechanisms? Then, if you have these clients, then all these other bonds and loans and grants and investors and all these models, they would work. They would work much easily because they would know, okay, there's a revenue generation, there's a demand, there's supply, okay, so my money will come back and then my money will have an impact. So it's
Impact.
much easier to measure the impact at that time. But if you just have a deck and an MVP, and if you come up, okay, give me 1 million, of course people will question it, but that doesn't really serve. So the most of them fail. So let's, you know, give a second chance to these people. You know?
Yes, yes. I want to highlight this part too because this is really so important around what you are doing. So many people focusing the easy transaction, or there are entrepreneurs who know the execution, but you are focusing to there is no bias or cognitive bias. There is a great product, there is a great entrepreneur, but they have a problem too, needs to solve it about their marketing, about their how to starting their positioning in the market. This is what we need as leaders to take risk and to solve that people and let's support them somehow because this is an amazing solution for the world and we can do together with our services, with our mentorship and etc. And thank you so much for this conversation and having this mission. It is so inspiring for me, first of all, and I am sure for other people too. Um, I would love to continue this conversation later on. Thank you, Eren. Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you for
for your
having me. Yeah, we'll continue this conversation, and I'm very happy to hear feedback from all the audience that has had time to watch us, listen to us. Thank you so much.
Great. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.